Hello, today we are going to start working with a new program called Pixton. As usual, you're going to come to the classwork section of the class and you're going to be working from the top, which is Monday, 12/14, December 14th, which is the first lesson in this assignment. We'll be doing this for a couple of days, probably this week we'll complete the whole thing with Pixton. Today you're going to start by creating an avatar. So Pixton is a program where you can create a virtual classroom and then create comics with the people that are in your classroom. So it's a lot like Bitmoji in the sense that you're going to create an avatar that looks like you, and then we're all going to be populated into the same classroom and you'll be able to use those characters to create comics later on. Today, we're actually going to work on exporting your avatar and then using some cropping methods to pull out a different avatar to create an actual comic within Google Drawings itself. So you're going to get a little bit of exposure to Pixton and a little bit of exposure to Google Drawings, and we'll be able to use both programs and see how they work together. Later on in the week, we will be working within Pixton itself. You'll have a chance to make some comics within the actual program itself. But for today, we're going to just be using it to create our avatar and then working mainly in Google Drawing. All right, so number one is watching the video, the Edpuzzle video. That's what you're doing now. Number two is reading over the attached rubric. I'm actually going to be going through the rubric within the video as well, but this is a great place to check for how the grading is going to happen for this particular assignment. So make sure that you're checking this against the assignment as you're working. I had number two twice. I will fix that. Number three is going to be going to the Pixton using the class join link and creating your avatar. You have to use this link here. This will link you directly to the classroom that all your other classmates are going to be in. If you just go to pixton.com, you won't be within my class. So you need to make sure you click this join page. Number four would be go to the assignments template heading under the classwork section of my Google Classroom to add your avatar to the Google Drawing attached. And I'm going to show you that right now. So under the classwork section, if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that there is a templates section. It's going to be called Pixton Avatar Google Drawing. And this is where you're actually going to be downloading your avatar. And that will be part of this video. Okay, and then number four is create your cartoon within the Google Drawing itself. So my suggestion, this is going to be a longer video. It's one that is better for you to work with. So I'm going to show you a piece, and then I might say, okay, pause the video now and go and do that. So then you can go and do that part of the video and then come back and watch the next part. And this is kind of like a working with video, and that way I'm not giving you too many instructions at once, and you can kind of rewind and rewatch if you need to. All right, so number one, we are going to join the class join page here. So I'm going to click on this link. It's going to bring me to Pixton. If it's your first time here, it's going to ask you to sign in with Google. Please make sure you're using your school account. And then it's going to bring you into this page itself. Now, if it's the first time that you are in here, you need to make sure that you are going, there's going to be like a picture of a class here, and then underneath it'll say make avatar down here. All right. If you have been here before, it might look like this, and you will be able to come. There's like this little arrow here will bring you back to your classes, and then you'll be able to select my class, which is just called 6-1 or whatever class it is, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, whatever group you are. So you want to make sure you're in that class. Okay. So if this is the first time here, it's going to automatically put you in the class. If you used Pixton before, you may have to choose 6-1 to make sure you're in the class. All right, so you're going to click the Make an Avatar button. I'm going to edit my avatar so you can kind of see the same type of thing. So basically, it's going to start you off with skin tone, and you're going to pick each item from the list, and you can scroll down. It's 2 fingers to scroll, right? 2 fingers up and down, and you're going to go and select the different looks that work for you to make your avatar look as close to you as you think. Now, it's not as many options as, let's say, a Bitmoji, but there's a lot of options here that you can kind of help narrow down to make your avatar look how you want them to look. All right, so I already did one, so I'm just going to skip through. You're going to take your time and work through each of these. And then at the very end, it allows you to choose an expression, what you want your face to look like. Okay, and then it's also going to allow you to choose a position to stand in. So if we look, and then this is like a height. If you're tall or short, you can choose so that when we're standing all together in the class picture, it makes sense. And then you have your different poses you can choose from. And you can always edit your poses here or your outfits here throughout the assignments if you decide that you need to be in a different pose for one of the assignments in Google Drawings. I'm going to leave the pose just like that. And then I'm going to click over and I'm going to say, yep, there's my avatar and I'm done. All right, so once you've completed making your avatar, we're going to be downloading it and putting it in Google Drawings. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and go and make your avatar if you haven't already done so, and then come back. Okay, now that you have your avatar made, we're simply going to do a full body and a headshot. I want you to take both, depending, that way you can choose what you want to use depending on the comic that you're going to use. So I'm going to click headshot, I'm going to download. There's my headshot, it's just my head. And then I'm going to download my full body so that I have both options. Okay, so it shows you here that it downloaded. So once you've done those two things, that's actually all we're doing in Pixton itself today, because we're going to do the rest in Google Drawings. So you can go ahead and close the Pixton tab. Now we're going to put those two downloads in the template that we made. So once you've downloaded them, you're going to come back to the classwork section, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and click the Pixton Avatar Google Drawing and open up that template. All right, I'd like you to pause the video now, download your avatar, and then come to this Google Drawing, and then come back to the video. Okay, now that you have your avatar downloaded, we're going to insert them into this actual Google Drawing here so that we can use it for a comic itself. So let's say I'm going to go to Insert. We're going to insert an image and we're going to upload it from the computer because we downloaded it. So now we need to upload it back into this program. So I'm going to click Upload. It's going to open up another window. You want to be in the download section. So the first thing you want to check is to make sure you're highlighted in downloads. If you don't see your two downloads at the top, most likely you need to change your date modified from with the arrow pointing down. Okay, so that means that it's the newest downloads to the oldest. And that way anything new that you download will pop to the top. So my two different options are here, this one and this one. Now, if you want to, here's a little trick if you want to try this. If you want to select more than one item at a time, you can hold the control button. So I click the first one, I hold the control key down on my keyboard, and while I'm holding control, I click the second one. That allows me to select more than one file at a time, so I only have to do this once. So I'm going to select those two and click Open. Okay, I'd like you to select your two images and import them into your Google Drawing now. So go ahead and pause the video and do that. Okay, now that you have your two different images in here, we can shrink them down so they're, a more reasonable size. And then I'm going to also pull in a background. So what I want to do is I want to create a background. And what I should do is actually go back and look at the rubric so that I'm sure that I have everything that I need for my rubric. So here's the rubric for what we need for our cartoon. All right, number 1 says you have 2 characters from the Pixton class photo that have been isolated and put into a Google Drawing. Well, I already have an issue, right? Because I only have 1 character. So I need to go back to Pixton and I need to take out my second character. So I'm going to go to pixton.com for students in my class, and I'm going to log in. So what I want to do is come to where it says class photo. Here's my class photo. Right now it's just teacher me and kid me because that's the 2 that I have in the class right now. So you'll have more people in your class as they complete their avatars. So you're going to click download. There's my class photo. So same thing. Now I can come back to my Google Drawing and I can insert it the same way. Insert image, upload from computer. And here's my Pixton class photo. And I'm going to open that. All right, so here's my class photo. So now, since I already have this character, right, because that's my kid avatar that I took, I need to take my other avatar. So we're going to crop this image. So cropping is to cut everything else out but what we want. So I'm going to use this button here, which is the crop button. And we're going to use that by clicking and dragging the box to fit as closely. Whoop, see, wrong box. That was the picture. Control Z to undo. I need the outside cropping box. Let's see. Did I grab it? Nope. Still grabbed the wrong one. Control Z. Let me try that again. Maybe if I grab it from the top first. There we go. So I'm going to grab there. I'm going to grab here. I'm going to crop out the kid me like that. I'm going to grab this one here and drag that in like that. And once I have it how I like it, I'm going to hit the enter key, and that's going to crop me out. So now I have kid me, I have teacher me, and I have this headshot just in case I decide I want to use that instead. So this way I have a couple of options to choose from. All right, so let's go back to our rubric. So I have 2 different people. Good. 40 points right there. Done. Next, you've included a real world background as demonstrated in the video. Well, then I better demonstrate it. All right, real world background. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert an image, but this time we're going to do a search, and we're going to use the web to find something. So you can do any type of background you want. Real world meaning, though, it's a realistic picture. So what if I look for classroom? You can look for classroom, you can look for Mars, you can look for an office, whatever it is you want it to be, but you're going to find a picture that works for you. So I think I like this one. So I'm going to click on the one that I like, and I'm going to click insert. Here's my picture. Now I'm going to stretch it out to fit in here the best that I can. So I'm actually going to stretch it a little bit as long as it doesn't look too skewed. It's actually not too bad. I'm going to stretch it out from side to side. All right, I'd like you to right now, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the class photo, put it into Google Drawings, and cut out your avatar like I showed you using the crop button, and then find a real world image. So pause the video now if you need to do any of that, and then come back. All right, so now notice you can't see us anymore, right? We put this picture over top of the avatars. So what we're going to need to do is send this to the back. So we do that by right-clicking. So right-clicking to finger click. There is an option called order, and we have different options. And since this is already in the front, we can't bring it any more forward. We actually want this to be the very bottom layer. So we don't want to just go back one layer, because if I say send backwards, it's only going to bring it behind here. But notice I can't see my other pictures. I want to send this all the way to the back. So we're going to click send to back. And now all my people are standing on top. All right, so now what I can do is I'm going to create a comic. So if we look, I have my real world background, and now it says you have at least 2 speech bubbles to tell the story of the comic. So we need to create a comic. So let's see. I'm going to move this avatar to here. Actually, maybe I want her standing off to the front over here. And then I have this student standing here. She seems a little bit big for a student, so I'm going to shrink her down so she's more kid size. There we go. All right, and I've decided I'm not going to use my head. If we were doing one where they were sitting in a seat, it might be better to use the headshot, because then they're sitting down, so it's a half body instead of a whole body. You can also crop the body up if you need to. You could crop so that it's only their waist. So you have different ways of using the crop button to make it look good. All right, so now we need to insert speech bubbles. We need to make them talk. So here is the speech bubbles. We have our shapes. So this is our shapes option. You have different shapes you can draw. We're going to use what's called a call out. So call outs show us like speeches. So we have thoughts and we have speaking, right? So we're going to do a speaking one. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to draw my bubble in like I want to. I'm going to move it up a little bit, and maybe I make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to read. All right, and then I don't like the blue. I want it to be white, because when I think of speech bubbles, I think of them being white. So here's my color bucket, and I can change this to a white background. And then right here, this little yellow dot, I can actually stretch out the point so we can see exactly who's talking, just like that. And now I have the option of typing within it. So I can say, I'm tired. So that's what she's saying. And then I need to have 2 speech bubbles. So that's her. So I need to make one for the teacher. So I'm going to come back to shape, call outs, speech bubbles. I'm going to make a bigger one for the teacher. I'm going to turn it to white like I did before. And I'm going to grab my speech bubble line and I'm going to bring it over to her face so we can tell it's her that's talking. And I'm going to say, "Hi, tired. I'm Miss Maytag. I'm so funny. Funny jokes, funny jokes." I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Good. All right. So if you haven't already added your speech bubbles, you can pause the video here and go add your speech bubbles. Okay, good. So we have our two characters. We have the real world video background. We have two speech bubbles. You have to give the comic a title using word art in Google Drawings. All right, so we need to give it a title. So word art. We're going to insert again, and we're going to come down here to where it says word art. So word art's just like a fancy way of writing our words. It's kind of a little bit more artsy. You can do a little bit more with it. I'm going to title this Dad Jokes because that is a total dad joke. So you type it in the box and you click enter. Here is how it starts. Now you need to make it more interesting. We make it more interesting by choosing a font that's a little bit more fun to read. So let me pick a cool font that I like. So maybe like Oswald. There we go. I can choose the color that I want it to be. So maybe I want it to be this cool light blue, like kind of like medium blue. And then see how it's a black outline? I can actually change the outline. So maybe I want to do like a light blue outline. And then this is the line weight, how heavy the line is. So I can make this maybe a 4-inch line. See how that outlines it a little bit more? You can even get fancy and kind of do dotted lines and stuff if you really wanted to go crazy. But I'm going to leave it like that. I think that looks kind of good. And I'm going to put it off to the side. Dad jokes. And then there's my dad joke. All right. And that's my title. So let's check. 2 characters, real world background, 2 speech bubbles, title. Okay, add a border. You have a border that you custom create using a shape and making it transparent. Okay, so how to add a border. So now this thing right now lacks a border, right? I don't have anything that goes around it. So I'm going to come to shapes. This is mainly a rectangle shape. So I'm going to look at the rectangle shapes that I like. And I am going to choose one. Let's say like this has kind of like that rounded edge. And we're going to click and drag to create this border. And now looking at that, I've decided I don't like the way that looks. So I'm going to delete it and I'm going to try something else. So now I'm going to try just a straight square like this. Okay, so this way I can kind of border it a little bit more. All right, so I click and drag. Problem is, here we go. I can't see anything. So what I need to do is change the paint fill color to transparent so I can see through it. But now it's kind of like, well, what's the point of that? I don't even see the border. So again, making the border weight thicker, maybe an 8, maybe a 12. How thick do you want it to be? Whatever you want it to look like. Maybe I want to put a dotted line around it to make it kind of fancy and cool. And I want to change it to a complementary color, maybe like this green, whatever it is. Okay, so now I have a border around my art. I made it transparent. And I kind of put a dashed line to make it look fancy. All right, so if you haven't done the word art and the border, you can go ahead and pause and do that now. You can rewind and watch any part and then come back to the video. All right, so last thing, 2 characters, real world, 2 speech bubbles, title, border. You have turned in the assignment appropriately and on time in Google Classroom. So on time turning in, 10 points right there. So turning it in. This is done. I can just close it. Going back to my assignment here, you obviously need to turn in this assignment after watching the video. So I'm going to mark it as done. And then I'm going to go back into the template itself. You need to turn in the Pixton avatar template one so that I know your comic is done. Turn in, done. If you have any time left in the period today, obviously you can go ahead and click on the link that I gave you in this top assignment here for typing, and you can spend a few minutes typing. And if you have any questions, as usual, please send me a chat on GoGuardian, and I'll also have the Google Meet open, so if you want to jump in and ask me a question, you can do that as well. All right, good luck. I hope you have fun.